Hey there riders, Moto Journo Kris here, and I thought I'd tackle the question of which is the best beginner adventure motorcycle option for new riders. These will all be under 500cc machines because it'll make the list a bit more concise, and don't forget to let me know which would be your choice and why in the comments. I'm going to start with the most basic options and move up to what I reckon is the best beginner all-rounder. These are all new bikes available now and are what I'd consider falling into the adventure segment, with varying off-road capability out of the box. So kicking off the list is Suzuki's V-Strom 250SX. Highlights include a 19-inch front wheel, decent 167 kilos wet weight, and new single-cylinder power plant replacing the old parallel twin that was also in the GSX 250R. Seat height is a decent but not short 835mm, alongside very generous ground clearance and standard light handguards. Styling is also an improvement over the outgoing version, with a rack on the rear, screen for wind protection, and otherwise quite basic specifications. The price will be the big standout though. The V-Strom 250SX is one of the most affordable options you can find and a great entry point from a reputable brand as a result. It's just probably not the choice for those who want the absolute best beginner option, with basic dual-purpose tyre standard fitment. On the bright side though, a low seat height brings it down 30mm in the accessory range, and crash bars are also available. These are made in China too from what I understand, with the outgoing model super easy to ride, something I assume will carry across to the latest iteration. Obviously the next step in the Suzuki range is the V-Strom 650, however I think many will opt to go straight to the new V-Strom 800DE that's launched this year once they get past the beginner stages. Next up is the Royal Enfield Himalayan, based around a tractor-like 411cc single cylinder, pumping out 24 brake horsepower and 32 Nm of torque, promising reliability if with a 5-speed gearbox. Seat height is a nice and low standard 800mm though, with a 21-inch front wheel and 17-inch rear, both spoked, clad in basic dual sport tyres. There's nice long travel suspension to 200mm travel front and 180mm rear, even if the suspenders are on the basic side of things. I rode the original generation bike though, and it was well suited for me at 75 kilos or so, plus gear. Weight is a hefty 191 kilos, but fuel capacity is generous at 15 litres and ground clearance sits at 220 mils. Pricing on the Himalayan is competitive, if not as amazing as the V-Strom, and I think these fall into the underrated category. Plus, they are offering a more classic take on the adventure theme and are well balanced between road and light off-roading. I actually considered one of these as the other choice when I bought my WR250R, with the intention of adventurizing it. Easy rideability, good manners, and tractor-like ability to overcome are the benefits here, but the Himalayan won't be for everyone. Ergos are also well suited to either touring or adventuring in my mind, as well as commuting. Royal Enfield notably don't have a larger adventure model after the Himalayan for now. Arguably the most forgotten machine in my mind is the Kawasaki Versys-X 300, which costs a little more than the Himalayan, but packs the old Ninja 300 engine and offers almost 40 horsepower with 25.7 Nm of torque for a revier, perhaps more road-orientated offering. The Versys-X offers a reasonably low seat height at 815mm and weighs in at 175 kilos with 17 litres of fuel. 180mm of ground clearance, and suspension travel is 130 front and 148mm rear, which isn't that long. However, I remember it offering a dirt bike-like ride, soft enough for a bit of light off-roading and decent comfort. The wheel combo is a 19-inch front and 17-inch rear with basic brakes. You do get a screen and rack, but no handguards, with a roomy ergo that's ideal for touring, but should handle standing on the bike as well in the rougher stuff if you're an average build or height like me. Being a parallel twin is a bit of a standout too, in most offerings being singles, and as I mentioned, being a more rev-happy engine, where some riders may prefer the simplicity of a single in comparison. Expect to buy a sump guard and some more dual-purpose orientated tyres if you want to get a little more serious off-road on one of these. It's no KLR 650 if you're thinking of tackling the really tough stuff, but that's a bike for another video. Next up is BMW's G310GS, a single-cylinder powered machine that pumps the price up again with 28 Nm of torque on offer from that 313cc power plant. Power is a reasonable 34 horsepower too, with 41mm upside down forks fitted to the front and offering 180 mils of travel, the same as the monoshock fitted to the rear. Wheels are cast units but run a 19-inch front and 17-inch rear with 4-piston caliper fitted to that front brake as a bump up in brake specification over the models we've talked about so far. Weight is 175 kilos, with these bikes feeling nice and light, while the 835mm seat height isn't super low or super tall and can be brought down to 820mm with an accessory option for shorter riders. Fuel capacity is 11.5 litres too, and the engine is fast revving, willing, and lively and fun. I believe they've worked on the earlier stalling issues with the bike's lack of flywheel inertia, making for fast revving, but in the past, easy stalling. The G310 GS shares its bigger sibling's DNA, but is a fairly simple machine compared to the fully decked out GSA that people are probably so familiar with. However, that makes for a great starting point. Tyres are unquestionably road orientated as standard fitment too though. Adjustable levers are a nice little detail, as is the rack and full LED lighting, and at least here in Australia they come with an impressive 5-year warranty. This is the bike I always personally forget even exists, but they are a handsome little machine and ideal if you're looking to eventually upgrade to a GSA or similar, but want to make sure you're into the whole adventure thing before going in that deep. The bike which I think is the most deserving of the adventure moniker is the Honda CRF 300 Rally, and is essentially a dual sport decked out with long distance travel kit like larger tank, wind protection and such. It's a more unique machine these days, as the dual sports have been dropping like flies. The Rally is the most serious adventure ready of the list, but also bumps up pricing from the BMW again. The single cylinder 286cc engine is a very dirt bike with a fairly mundane 27 horsepower, but more notable 26.6 Newton meters of torque. It is a 6-speed gearbox too, and obviously if you've done any looking into adventuring, you'll know Itchy Boots immortalized this bike as an around the world adventurer for good reason. Weight is a very nice 152 kilos with 12.8 litres fuel, and ground clearance is a super generous 275mm, although the seat height is the tallest of the class at 885mm. That's the price you pay for the longer travel suspension and plentiful ground clearance however. Suspension is a set of 43mm USD forks with a single shock, with 234mm travel front and 260mm at the rear for a very impressive loadout, but the general consensus is that if you want to pretend this is a full-blown dirt bike, you'll probably want to upgrade the suspension. That's probably true of all of these machines, but the CRF 300 Rally is the most likely machine to find itself in those situations on a regular basis. Let's just be realistic. The wheel setup is spoked rims with a 21-inch front and 18-inch rear, and you only get a 24-month warranty, despite 3 or more becoming increasingly the norm in the industry. With Honda renowned for reliability and generally charging a premium for their machines, you think they'd be leading this particular point. If I was buying a small adventure bike today, it would most likely be the Honda CRF 300 Rally, although I'm interested in how to compare to my old WR250R. The Rally also offers some fairly 50-50 tyres as standard, but adding more aggressive knobbies will not be an issue, with plenty of clearance to the guards. The dirt bike styling and being adventure ready off the showroom floor is obviously the big advantage here, as most dual sports in comparison, like the CRF 300L, don't offer the wind protection and larger tank, meaning you need to spend on those features. Honda actually get to cheat a little in that it also offers the CB500X, which is a parallel twin 471cc equipped bike with a 19/17-inch wheel combo, cast, not spoked, but weighing in at a hefty 199 kilos. Seat height is also 834mm though, with a big 17.5 litre fuel tank. Light dual purpose tyres are standard, and I've seen one of these run with everything from adventurized WR250Rs up to 10-race 700s and Tigers, so they are a capable machine in the right hands, if at the top of the pricing and lacking the more modern features of something like the KTM. A formidable machine regardless, it's heavy and on the pricey end, but you get Honda reliability and the styling is on point. The undisputed king of the adventure category is the KTM 390 Adventure, or ADV for short, and for 2023 we're finally seeing spoked wheels become an option. The KTM is the most well equipped of all these options, but like the CRF 300 Rally is also the most expensive, and I'd say it's a little more road orientated than the Honda, which may be a mixed blessing depending where you're coming from. The 390 Adventure is powered by a single cylinder 373cc engine with 44 horsepower, topping even the Versys-X, but in a more accessible form while adding a quick shifter. Torque is also a class topping 37 Newton meters. A 6-speed gearbox is highway ready and willing to go, with traction control as standard, setting the bike apart from the rest of the options. Off-road mode ensures the traction control and ABS doesn't hold you back there too, so those electronics are usable everywhere. Another standout is the TFT display, which with plastic guards and a small screen that are also standard. Suspension is adjustable adjustable 43mm WP apex inverted forks with 170mm of travel and monoshock combo, with rebound and preload at the rear as well as 177mm of travel. The single front disc runs a 4-piston caliper too, which again leads the class here, and those wheels, whether cast or spoked, are a 19-inch front and 17-inch rear. Seat height is 855mm, and while KTM seem to have taken to advertising that as being able to be as low as 830mm, that's a bit misleading, as you will need to purchase their lowering kit and get it fitted to reach that 830mm figure. Expect that to cost about 10% of the value of the bike new if you're considering going down this route. Wet weight is 172 kilos too, with a 14.5 litre fuel capacity, and ground clearance is generous at 200mm. I'd say the one drawback of the 390 Adventure is that while a great road machine and well suited to light off-roading too, the ergonomics for me at 180cm with a 32-inch inseam make it hard to stand up on the bike without having to crouch right down to reach the bars. Lowering the pegs or raising the bars would likely solve this issue, or both, but I never felt like they'd really designed the bike for someone of my proportions at least to comfortably stand on it for long periods, which is definitely what I'd want to be doing through the better adventure routes, especially when it gets bumpy. So the KTM 390 Adventure is the most well decked out all-round adventure bike in my mind, especially thinking road performance with cool tech, great specifications, and the most impressive loadout at the highest price. I do think the CRF 300 Rally though would be the bike for a round the world trip in comparison, or if you just want a dirt bike that's very road capable. Overall recommendations though, to give you an idea of how I think these align with riders: want cheap adventure? Go the Suzuki V-Strom 250SX. You can't beat that buy-in, you should have some fun, and you probably won't be upset if you drop the bike. Looking for something a bit more classic, not too performance orientated, but very capable? Royal Enfield Himalayan is possibly the one for you. Like your performance, value, and are more road inclined with the unsealed roads less of a surety? Think maybe the Kawasaki Versys-X 300. I reckon it's a close match to the KTM on performance, it's just a more basic setup overall with a price tag to reflect that. Desperate for the adventure machine, a GSA, but you need to start on something more suitable to kick off your riding? BMW G310 GS of course. Get the little tacker, then move up to the full cojones once you know you won't yeet yourself into space. A couple of outside options that don't directly fit into the adventure segments are bikes like the Suzuki DRZ 400e or Yamaha WR250R, both discontinued but popular bikes to adventurize. You could also do similar with the KLX 300, which we don't get here in Australia, although the WR250F or WR450F are both road registerable here and could possibly fit that bill, again with some modifications and keeping an eye on the frequent servicing requirements. I'm not sure the WRF models are road registerable in other parts of the world, however. The KTM 500 EXC fits into a similar category as a potential adventure machine. Anyway, that's a quick rundown for new riders. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think, and as always, stay safe out there.